This video is about stereochemistry and biomolecules. So the keyword in question is to draw a wedge and dash notation of L-aniline. And the concept here is drawing D and L amino acid using the wedge and dash notation. So how we normally see a amino acid is set up in this way, where we have a carbon in the middle, a carboxyl to the right, a amine group to the left, a hydrogen on top, and an R group at the bottom. And how we were to convert that into a wedge and dash notation is that we would have the carbon in the center, this carboxyl group right here will be on top, and then on the same plane we would have opposite to the carboxyl group, we would have the amine group, and then in front, that represented by a wedge, so a colored in triangle like this, we would have the R group. And then behind the carbon, we would represent it with the dash in the shape of a triangle would be the hydrogen. And that is our general formula for an amino acid using the wedge and dash notation. And we can use this notation right here to determine whether this is a D or L amino acid by using the corn rule. So corn is, we find the C and O in the word corn is for the carboxyl group. So here we have carboxyl group. The R is the R group. And depend on whatever example the R group is replaced with, that is still the R group. That is still the R in the corn rule. And then we have the N, which is the nitrogen in the amine group. And we would always set up our wedge and dash notation where hydrogen is at the back. And now we can use the corn rule to determine whether it follows each other in an anti-clockwise or a clockwise direction. So here we have corn rule going in an anti-clockwise. So it's anti-clockwise. Therefore, it is an L amino acid. But if we were to mirror all of this, we would have an amino acid still with an H on top, an R on the bottom, but to the right we would have the amine group. To the left we would have the carboxyl group instead. And that is an enantiomer of our previous example. And now if we were to draw the wedge and dash notation, we would have on top, instead of the carboxyl group, we now have the amine group. And then the carboxyl group at the front represented by the dash. You have the R group at the back. at the front represented by the wedge. And at the back represented by the dash. We have the H. And you can see how H, it's still at the back. But now, we can still apply the corn rule. So we have CO, R, and N. And this time, we are going in this direction, which is clockwise. That means it's a D amino acid. And zoom out so you can see how this molecule and this molecule here are mirror images of each other, and their wedge and dash notation are also mirror images of each other. So going back to our question, they tell us to draw a wedge and dash notation of the L amino acid aniline. And aniline has the R group of CH3. So we draw what we know, and this is the molecule aniline. And we need to transform that into a wedge and dash notation. So we would have something looking like this. And we can check whether it is what we draw is a D or L amino acid using the corn rule. So again, we have H at the back, then we have CO followed by R followed by N. So corn follows in an anti-clockwise direction. So it is an L amino acid. And this diagram right here is our final answer for the question.